Hey everybody, Sean. I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Kit, and I've been waiting a while, Kit, to do this, you know, and pick your brain a little bit, have you share a little bit, and really, you're always teaching Tylene and I, but we want you to be able to teach others as well. We're going to start utilizing you more, man, because you have so much information, so much knowledge, so much history, so many experiences that people need to know about. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the energizing process, right, that you invented, created, whatever you want to call it, and let you touch on that. And specifically for the group that we're working with right now, you know, in the CBD world, the CBD space, and really get into our spray device, right, the meter dose spray device, and talk a little bit about that in a couple minutes. But really, just, man, talk to us about this whole thing. There's so many things that we could talk about, but what do you want to talk about, and then bring it back to this? How's that?
Well, it's an interesting question. First of all, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
We're right on the beach at Ocean Beach. I mean, this is just so
don't
cool.
get sidetracked looking out the window.
Yeah, it's very easy. The
Happens
pier's
to me.
The pier's right there. You know, I mean,
It's a good thing.
yeah, it's a good thing. I guess what I really want to bring to the table is that each one of us uniquely is our own self. We're our own individual. One of the challenges that I've seen through my years in medicine is that we need to treat the patient more so than treat the disease. And when you get locked into a consciousness of disease thinking, you're never going to get well.
Right.
I mean, the responsible party here is the person we're working with. And as we coordinate and teach, we find that, you know, so much more can be done. What we found is years ago, a company out of over in Arizona developed a spray technology. And I'll just tell you the story. There was a fellow that was a patient of mine, and he was just one of those people that aggravated me. A lot.
Yeah.
But he was a wonderful guy, you know, I found out later, but he would always show up unannounced without an appointment and just create disruption. And this one particular day, I'm always in the back at the clinic, and one particular day, it was about noon, I was walking in the hallway, and I was kind of up front towards the reception area, and he busts in the door, and he looks across, and he yells at me, and I just looked at him and I said, no, not now, not ever. Get out,
Yeah.
I'm done with you. And I turned around and walked away, and he reached over my shoulder and he gave me a sheet of laminated paper, and it was out of the physician's desk reference. And it showed the difference in spray technology to capsules and pills and you know, topographicals and drops and everything else. And I looked at that, and it was right on the physician's desk reference, and he said, give me a call. And that was my first introduction into sprays. And I looked at that, and I didn't go to my next patient. I went right into my office, and I looked at that, and I saw what he gave me a B12 spray. And I tried it, and I said, whoa, what's this? What's going on here?
Right.
This is out of a reference source, and it's more effective than an intramuscular shot. And so I investigated, well, how does this work? How does that happen? So I found the company, and I found the inventor of that. And they'll take one drop of liquid and break it into approximately 250,000 microdropules. And that goes through what's called the cheek or the buccal mucosa, and it goes directly into the bloodstream. Now, everything that goes into your body in the digestive tract is going to go down through the esophageal area, down into the stomach, and work with the various digestive enzymes and juices, and then go and make a trip through the liver for cleansing, go and circulate through your body one time and go through the liver again before it'll go to the cell for cell utilization. Okay? But if you go directly and bypass the digestive tract with a spray through the buccal mucosa, and you're looking at 90-95% absorption, as opposed to 5 and 10% absorption in a pill or capsule.
Yeah.
Big difference. That's
when I first saw that, when I first heard that absorption in the testing, I have to be honest, I didn't believe it. It was just like, holy cow, how does it even work? Those numbers are so high.
Right. I'm going to get to that.
All right. All right.
I don't want to lose that
Okay.
too much of this. But see, you lose that. You don't have to do that second trip through the liver.
For the liver, okay.
Okay, so you got much more. You have much more product availability.
Gotcha.
You have a pure product. You know, you don't want to put garbage in a spray. I mean, it'll break it down, but you want good, pure product. Yeah. And that kind of leads into the CBD that,
Yep.
you know, there's only, in my mind, of all the CBD that's out there, there's only one that I've seen and tested. And we're going to get to that in just a second.
Yes.
But what we've got is you now have that absorbability, and it's still in the bloodstream, but it's going to go to the cell out of the blood. It's going to diffuse out of the blood into the extrastitial fluid, and into the cell. That's what the spray does. The spray in itself is a phenomenal, much better way, and particularly with CBD. And we just saw something from Dr. Alan Sears, where he did his research and very well documented. He says the best way to get CBD is through spray. And I think you've got that study.
Yes.
And we'll provide you with some more. So anyway, I looked at that, and I looked at CBD, and you know, I'm a neurologist, and so here I am, pretty well, you know, retired, and I hear about this thing called the endocannabinoid system, and I'm going, well, where'd that come from? You ever heard of that? Whoa, wait a minute! And I started, you know, 1993. Here's this whole system, and just the way that I think and the holism of how the planet works, it makes perfect sense how that system works. So I looked at the CBD receptors, and some of those receptors are inside the cell itself. We want to get it to the cell, but then there's a receptor inside the cell, and then there's a way to activate that receptor. And I looked at, well, what else do we need here? What are we actually doing? We're trying to initiate anti-inflammatory process. We're trying to, you know, deal with antioxidants. We don't want oxidation, which is the aging process. We want more energy. We want more sleep. A little side note on sleep, because we just mentioned a minute ago. Sleep patterns are different for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, I got locked into that. Oh, you got to have 8 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours. It didn't work for me. I'm a 2 or 3 hour guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm up, and then I'll go back for an hour or two. But you know, sleep is a individualized thing. But what's key is, are you awake after you slept? Are you utilizing what's there? That's just one of the components. So I got into how does all this work, and I realized that the dopamine is what we're trying to initiate more of with the CBD, and what it needs on a 1-to-1 ratio is serotonin. Serotonin is the feel good, makes your moods mellow. You know, it's what the people are taking Prozac and Wellbutrin for. They're trying to make that serotonin uptake, you know, stay in the cleft there. I'm just going, why don't we make more serotonin?
Right.
It makes more sense.
Makes sense.
But especially if we can get serotonin into a spray, which we do by increasing just the way that we do our energization process, we increase the negative electrons, or the anons is the other name for it. These are the charges. Everything in life out there has got a positive, negative, or a yin-yang relationship. And we increase the number of electrons, which are the negative ions, and that's like standing near a waterfall or being under the wave of an ocean. It's all that ionization. Well, it's going directly into your system, into your body. We're taking it in with the spray in conjunction with the CBD. So we got the best of both worlds there.
Gotcha.
That's how that whole thing in a nutshell kind of works.
Okay.
I could fill in some blanks, but
man,
I don't want to lose anybody.
No, don't lose anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, having a really kind of a measured dose is unique in itself.
Right.
Right, that metered dose.
Right.
Right. I don't think people understand the value of that sometimes.
Well, what we have, and the biggest challenge that I've had in my career, and yet the most rewarding thing, is doctor means teacher. And we have gotten so far away from how the organism even works. I need to get a certain amount of what are called credit hours every year, CEUs if I stay licensed. And they're very intense hours. Do you know how hard it is to find what you're looking for? Because most things are, well, here's how you deal with insurance companies, or here's how you extrapolate more money out of your patient.
Right.
You know, here's a business plan you can sell to your banker. No, I want the information of what's the new technology that's going to actually, in the science and the philosophy of naturalism, help the patient.
Right.
And that is so hard to find.
Right.
But just so you have it's out there, so I can tell
Yeah.
you this. I, with all the degrees and all the years of experience, I can go take a course and get CEUs in anatomy and physiology. Wait a minute, that's pre-med. I know, but we're teaching that to doctors that have been
Yes.
because just to fill the hours.
Wow.
This is a pharmaceutically controlled industry, and we're breaking from, we can get into the stats and all of that, but we need to, with iatrogenic disease, that is doctor-induced diseases, okay, the conservative studies say it's the number 3 killer, the more open studies say we're the second cause of death to the human species in the Western world. Well, we better get real about this, and we better get honest and truthful, and it might hurt a few people because you might have to change some of the ways that you've been thinking,
Yes.
but truth is truth.
Truth is
And
true.
the most important person in this room is you.
Yeah.
If I wasn't here, this wouldn't be happening for me.
Right.
So how do I take care of me?
Right.
I get a new heart every 90 days. I get a new liver every 8 months. My muscles are continually rebuilding my bone. How do I get from where I've been trying to deal with my pain? And this is what, I'm sorry for being so lengthy.
No, it's good.
Well, see, pain is a blessing. And you're talking to a guy who, had cancer and been blown up in a war. I have pain all the time. But because of the teachers and the people I had that I found, and they were hard. These people were, they made me have to do things.
Yes.
Made me look at some truth. I don't have to take any painkillers or any drugs whatsoever. I walk on a cane from residual, cancer and so forth. But my point is this: pain is the last thing to arise in any kind of disease or dysfunctional process, and it's the first thing to leave. So we get rid of the pain, but we haven't dealt with the underlying cause of the problem, and it's a process. It's a disease process.
Right.
So let's say, for instance, let's go back to the sleeping incident, or the sleeping, not incident, but as an example.
Conversation, yeah.
We do 70% of our healing when we're asleep. Now, what we know, and I don't like to throw stuff like this out there, I don't have those studies with me I'll give you can see I'm hesitating.
Yeah, just give it.
It's one of those unbelievable things. But we go through states of sleep consciousness. We go theta, beta, delta, so forth. And we're looking for that delta state. I think I'm right on that. I may be wrong on the verbiage. But for the rehealing of the human body in a 24-hour period, we need about 17 to 20 minutes of that level of consciousness, and that does the regeneration. So you go and you talk to some people that, talk to some of the religious people or the yogis or spiritual people, and what you're going to see is they sleep very little. They sleep a couple hours a night, 3 or 4 hours a night, because they can go to that state so quickly and turn off that mind.
Yeah.
How many times you lay in bed and you're just sitting there and the mind's going, and you're not sleeping,
Yes.
So then all of a sudden you take a spray and you expect it to happen in one day? No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
You've got to build up the reserves. And if that is the problem, now you're going to get some relief from it. Some people are going to get full relief. But if you still have some residual, learn to contemplate. Instead of meditate or pray, learn to contemplate. And contemplation is recognition of what it is.
Right.
I can't sleep because I'm still feeling resentful about da-da-da-da-dee. Well, run it through your mind, just take a few sprays and bless it and let it go. And the next thing you know, it's going to start to happen for you. But what I used to teach patients, and we were so busy, in the system today out there is very hard to be in because you need more time. We have to have fuller education. So I would take a person and I'd say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you this, for instance. and this is pretty phenomenal. It's I mean, I'm telling you, the CBD that's in this,
Yeah.
I could go off for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's there. Okay.
Whole flower fluid. We love it. Yeah.
It's amazing what that stuff is. And the chemists that work with that, that's what they want. They've never seen anything emulsify and work as well as it. So anyway, I would say to somebody, take this, and what I want you to do is we're going to use this for a couple of months, but let's just start with the first 30 days. And I want you to make one symptom that you have, or one concern, and we're going to make a diary of that symptom. And it's so simple. We're not going to write anything. We're going to make a happy face in a circle. Here's the smile, here's the two eyes. And besides that, we're going to make a sad face. And besides that, we're going to have a face with a straight mouth, so-so face.
Okay.
And all you're going to do is at the same time every day, you're going to think of that symptom and think of how you felt in the last 24 hours, and you're going to either mark happy or bad or so-so. And do that for 30 days, okay? And then don't look at the day before. Never look at the day before. Always keep it on a separate sheet of paper. And at the end of 30 days, you might say, oh, I got 10 good days, I got 15 bad days, and I got 5 so-so days. Now the next month when you do it, I got 20 good days. I got 10 bad days.
Right.
And this is the catch, because it happens, and I don't want to go too deep here, but just on that neural impulse right there,
Yeah.
there's a piece of that, for that to go from here to here in milliseconds, there's a piece of that where it's called the abort. It's called the resting area, and that's where people will abort. So
Gotcha.
people are actually getting a benefit, and yet they're not allowing the time frame over a period of
Gotcha.
a couple of months to really get the full benefit,
Gotcha.
and they abort and throw it out.
Okay.
Well, that didn't work, okay?
Gotcha.
So what I say to everyone is we're not looking to cure sleeping, or we're not looking to cure overweight, or we're not doing, what we're doing is bringing the body into a homeostatic balance.
Yes.
And every cell, and you're going to have to think about this one, because this is going to freak you out a little bit, but it's true. Every cell has the same purpose of every other cell, but their function and what they're doing in the body is different. What does a cell do? A cell gives us energy. It allows us to have life function. Now, if I have a kidney cell, it's giving me energy to drive the kidney.
Okay.
If I have a heart cell, it's giving me energy to drive the heart.
Okay.
Eyeball the same way. So the one organ in your body that never stops, it works harder than any other organ. We used to think it was the brain. It's not. It's your heart. So a heart cell lives 90 days. Now, if you have a heart attack and you get, scar tissue in the heart, that scar tissue will heal as scar tissue. It will not regenerate back as good cardio tissue. But let's say you still got 90% of the heart left. You don't want to be sitting back, maybe in the beginning you need to be on some medication for a very short period of time. But it's time we got some mobilization going. It's time we started moving. We started getting movement into the body. We started cleaning, making sure we got the right diet. And that's what's so important, is the enzymatic process of digestion.
Yeah.
We now know that when it hits the gut, it tells the brain goes back, and the brain and the heart talk, and then everybody's going, well, you can do whatever you want, man, but I got bad digestion, so it ain't gonna work.
Right. Right.
So again, the spray helps with that. Okay, it doesn't replace it. There's nothing that's a cure-all. With our technology, where we're not the spray guys, but we blend with them, we work with them. But with our tech, we make no claims, except that we empirically show, and we do anecdotal testing. Our testing shows from third-party lab, FDA-approved procedures, that we lower inflammation, we lower oxidation, we increase energization.
Wonderful.
And that combined with the spray,
Yes.
you got it. So that's pretty much it.
I like this because just take some right now, shake it, some sprays into that cheek, right in there, and that's just that explains a little bit about not having to go through the liver twice, right? And just that it works, seems to hit so quick.
Well, it does. Most people feel it immediately, okay? But I always give ourselves, some people, they just have a different sensory system. Remember, we're treating the adult. I mean, we're treating the baby too,
Yes.
excuse me. We're treating the person. And how many things have you done that have destroyed taste buds in your life or receptors, have gone, I don't know how much alcohol people have drank, but there was a time in my life where, it definitely influenced everything else.
Yes.
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 I mean, I'm a human.
Yes.
So today I'm past cancer, past heart disease. The last person in the world you ever think would have had those. But I had earlier things that happened back in the war that were never resolved, both emotionally and physically, that are now resolved, and no medications at all. I don't need, I do a very strong meditation contemplation. I do the best exercise I can do, and I eat very pure food.
Yeah.
And I use sprays.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use sprays. But,
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a phenomenal thing for so many people, and I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, but it's just, I think the meter dose, the fact that it's energized.
The meter dose I got off track with. See, less is more. And when we can give you an exact dose and know we're getting that exact dose within a few droplets every time, and we know that tube's going to hold X amount of sprays, 240, I believe.
240 sprays, yeah.
And if used correctly, unless you're in an emergency needing more, that's a full month's supply.
Yeah.
And this is the good news with this CBD. Now, with other vitamins, minerals, it's more of a daily thing that's more necessary. But with CBD, we have got an entourage effect.
Yeah.
And as this builds up in the system, you need less. So I'll just be very honest with you, is if I were to take a tube of this, I might need a tube a month or even maybe a little more for a couple of months. But it won't be very far down the line until I'm needing one tube every 2 months, one tube every 3 months. But that'll be my personal. It won't be the person next to me.
Right.
It's my physiology.
The same but different, yes.
Yeah, and that's the key thing.
Okay. Well, I know there's a couple other things I just want to touch on really quick. People are always asking the different uses and different things, and certainly anything to do with the brain. Obviously, with the spray, people seem to gravitate over, say, using another form of CBD, even with the fluid. Maybe we do the dropper as well. And when it comes to the spray, I hear lots of folks talk about whether it's whatever, anything. Could be migraines, could be concussions, could be seizures, could be Parkinson's, all these different issues we hear about. They really tend to want the spray. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's hitting that brain quicker? Or do you tell us about that?
You want me to go down that path?
Just
You know who
briefly.
you're talking to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the past president Board of Examiners for neurology and for the ACA, and that was a 4-day exam. And we videotaped every person, and we had the top professionals in this. But we all learned from a fellow named Ted Carrick, Dr. Carrick. Some of you may have heard of him. He's in the internet. He's been through the media, revolutionized and changed medicine, put it on its ear back in the 1990s. And I was a physician. I had a big clinic, had 16 employees, and we did a lot of pro bono work, and a lot of community service work, and 3 or 4 different types of doctors. And I went and heard this guy speak, and I shut her down and went back to school for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Because I needed to, I just had my dog.
Yeah. Perfect.
Me and my dog. I was lonely, but I was so enthralled with what it was doing for me, and what neurology is today, and what we know about it. Functional medicine, functional neurology is just so far beyond what you're seeing out in still in mainstream. But migraines were one of the challenges that I had, and they'd been cleared up some years before. But to answer your question, we have this positive negative ionization, which is a big part of what's happening in that spray. That in conjunction with the microdropules getting into the bloodstream. It's not having to go back to the liver, it's going directly to the brain. Now, if you have a migrainous type headache, you're getting vasodilation, and that's exciting the nerve that's going around the vessel, and that's where the pain's coming from.
Okay.
So as we bring that CBD, because that's an inflammatory process, you bring that CBD and negative ionization in there, and it pulls that vessel back to its normal state. And you're going to start to see such effects. It'll affect back to your adrenal gland. You can monitor this. I'm not going to say look for it. Well, I look for it. I always see blood pressure changes. But we have sophisticated ways of monitoring the blood pressure. We see all this pressure changes. With Parkinsonian, that's chloroform type movement. Okay, that's lack of inhibition. And there's only two things that happen in the brain: it turns on or turns off. The neuron, it's either excitatory or inhibitory. Well, we increase inhibition by that spray technology. It actually is firing more receptors. I will tell you, this happened at University of California, USC, and Carrick was teaching that day. And there was we were at USF. This was at USF, at University of San Francisco. And again, this was a different teacher, a radiologist, D'Onofrio was teaching, and he had a stroke right on stage. Now, I had been introduced to spray technology, okay, and I was already making waves in the neuro business,
Right.
And Julie Bornson was sitting right next to me, and Julie, I hope you're out there. She saved this guy's life, but she just ran up there. And she knew exactly what to do. We had to get more receptors firing, and the quickest way to do that was to grab one of these. And this was a whole knowledgeable medical thing. This is not, don't do this at home.
No.
Because she knew what side of the cheek to fire, just exactly what to do. And then all of a sudden, by the time the EMTs arrived, and we're all doctors in there, he's back teaching. He wouldn't go to the hospital. I don't know if that should be on that video or not. John crossed the Rainbow Bridge a few years ago, but I'm sitting there going, "What did I do?" I'm gonna be, I was in Vietnam. I saw all kinds of garbage. I never saw that.
Wow.
And it was just whoa. So I thought again, well, it must be what's in the spray. That's when I went down and said, no, everything is receptor. And I went on a whole new study of everything in the human body functions on receptor. We're always adapting to environment, internal or external. So let me ask you a question. If I go down here, and not to be offensive to anybody, but I eat a bunch of junk food at McDonald's or something, I'm affecting my internal environment. And my body's going to react to that, and I'm going to actually get sick. But I've done it so many times, my state of asserted wellness is actually sickness, but I feel that way all the time anyway, so I don't even know what wellness feels like.
Correct.
And all of a sudden you clean that up, you go through a little detox, and you realize that I don't have to have as much sleep, and my mind gets clear.
Pretty interesting.
It's pretty cool stuff. But it's a process.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lifestyle changing process.
It's a process. Yeah. I think everyone, with all the kids in sports and athletics, and I think that everyone needs this spray with their kids participate. Shoot, just for the kids running around hitting their head. Right. To have this on hand. And what are your thoughts on that? Well, certainly teams and trainers and all that, but just to have us to be there in case that's going on with all this physical contact.
Well, here's what we have today. Okay, this is just some personal from past experience.
Okay.
What I see coming down the pipe.
Okay.
We're going to have we got something developing. Let's put as much neutrality and as much positive energy into it as we can. But when you take something like CBD that is totally natural and does the job better than the anti-inflammatory medications that Big Pharma is pushing, and it's cheaper, in the utilization, and is more readily available. Well, the patents and all that are being owned by the government. That's coming to a head.
Yeah.
So the first thing we better make sure of is that we do have the science behind what we're doing, because we're going to get challenged. We better have a way of having a metered dose so we know exactly what we're doing. All these things are in play for us to have and to pass through that portal. And what you're doing is you're bringing this broad spectrum CBD that hits so many areas to an injury or to a dysfunction, and you're bringing it immediately there. Yeah, I see it. It should be there in all, you know, in every med bag, in every cabinet. You know, you come into price considerations, that's something else. I don't know how that works, but I know there is no price consideration for me. And I know on a metered spray, if you break it down per dose, you're getting it far cheaper than you are, you know, anything else.
You're getting like the best type of CBD and the best type of delivery system, and it's lower per dose, it's per use.
And the other thing that you have to understand with this is, my body's not made of oil. It'll produce some oils, okay? But those are usually in a toxic form. Not always, but usually. My body's made of water, okay? And in spite of my vanity, I'm what you call a mesoendomorph.
Okay.
I mean, I weigh less than I look. And that's true.
You heard it here.
Okay, I was 160 pounds this morning. I'm sitting next to you. I know I'm looking at, you must be at least 200. That's my vanity. It's my body type. Okay?
Yeah.
You're an ectomesomorph. Your body type, okay? I look at food and, well, I think I'll go live with Kit for a while. You know, I didn't even invite you in. You look at food and you know, your body moves it differently. So, but our bodies are water. So I'm 75% water. You're about, you know, 69, 70% water. Tylene's about the same. Okay, but I'm a different body type. So water and oil don't mix real well, but water and water mix real well. So when you take and you can extract, or not even extract, because that's not what we're doing, but what the purveyor of this is doing, but you're processing your CBD with no oil totally into a water base, your absorbability just from that alone, then into a spray, then with energization, voila. Now the beautiful thing that we have, and I've got them right here on the computer, and I will give them to you and you can work them in. But we have all the lab stains.
Yeah,
I mean, we got
love to have those.
Yeah, these are, and
I've seen them, but yeah, I need to.
Right, and we can cut them up, or you can get the highlights out of them, you know. But it shows you right there on third-party lab utilizing FDA recognized, you know, and approved testing that we squelch inflammation, you know, we neutralize oxidation, we increase energy, you know, and we help your mood. And it's all right there. And it's just like,
the people who have experienced it, they know. And look,
the skepticism that happens. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's just look at the reality of the society that we're in. Okay, we are in a consumer society. Now, if you're sitting in this room or listening to this or talking with Sean or Tylene or with Fernand or whomever this is to, you're not of that society in your thinking. You've already made the jump. You're already seeing that that ain't working. Okay? And what we have to do is, in our conservative utilization of nature, we've got to work with and become more aware of. Okay? So we look at, when you take something and you bring new technology to it, and you make it a good, pure technology, and you're utilizing it for the right reason, it changes the face of how everything is. Okay? I'll give you an example. Back in the day, we used to make wooden money. This goes back several hundred years.
Okay.
What was the downside of wooden money? Well, it broke or could burn up in a fire.
Right.
Okay, but what was the good side? It would float. Good for the Navy.
Okay.
But then we came with metal, and we said, you know, we're in the iron age, it won't burn up, and we have metal. But then what was the downside of metal? It was too heavy to carry around. So then we came up with paper. Okay, and then from paper we went from off paper, now we went to credit cards. And now we're going to computerization through bitcoins or whatever else.
Right.
But my point is this, every one of those switches did not happen overnight and was fought with resistance. You
Yep.
know, I'm a sailor. I don't want the heavy money. Or, you know, what about the paper? It can burn again.
Yeah.
You know, but I can travel further. Everything was met with resistance.
Right.
So what we see today is we still have got, you know, companies out there trying to sell you a super med pill. Says here's 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Well, I can tell you that it's got one little tiny drop of vitamin C in it, and the rest is talcum powder and filler. But most people will grab the big bottle. I got some turmeric the other day, and I opened it up and I said, why do I have to have this much filler in my turmeric?
Yeah.
How much of this is truly turmeric?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so what we know today, and that's what I mean by conservative naturalism, less is better. I don't want to mess my environment up.
No.
I don't want to mess my internal environment
Right.
up. I know for me, like, I know because, and this is a little sidebar here, and again, please understand where I've been and what I've come through. It didn't all happen overnight, and there's been a lot of ups and downs.
Right.
But I live a really happy, good life. But I know I eat less if I spray my vitamins. If I take some
Yeah.
CBD spray,
Yeah.
and it's an hour or two before, you know, Nancy says, "You're not hungry again tonight, are you?"
Yeah.
No, I'm not. You know, I eat less, and for a guy like me, that's a big win.
Yeah. Why not?
Right,
I spray so much I don't have to eat.
yeah, there you are. And you look it too. You know?
I take so many enzymes and plant-based whole food supplements. Yeah, I don't have a lot of room for food
Right.
outside of that.
Right, and actually you're healthier and stronger. You know, I mean, because of that, because you're getting what your body utilizes and needs.
Yeah.
Now, a little sidebar here. There's a lab up in Carlsbad, California I work with, and I'm amazed what we're doing with genetics and epigenetics with nanonutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And we are changing. I mean, we used to have this thought that was never verified, I don't think, but if we could change this person, 7 generations, we would see it happening, you know, in that strain of human. Well, I think that's all false to begin with, but that's kind of what we base our thinking on. We're seeing changes now that are affecting the next generation.
Yeah.
We're seeing, I mean, without drugs.
It's big.
Yeah, without
It's
drugs.
big. That's huge.
And we do it because we take, you know, saliva and we take urine. I mean, what we do, you know.
Yeah.
But we're on this precipice of this great revolution of healthy existence.
It's happening.
Yeah, and if you're listening to the mainstream media, it's telling you it's not.
Yeah.
Just the opposite. But no, we're here
You
today.
feel it, man. We've been preaching this stuff for the last 20 years, and certainly now with CBD, the last 5 years or whatever it's been, who knows, it's happening. More people are seeking to take their health more into their own hands. They're looking for real reasons why. Why did it happen in the first place? Can I go there? Can I get to the root of the issue? They don't want to just mask something. They, you know, as Tylene likes to say, you know, when's the last time so-and-so have you felt 100%? You know, and so it's really about helping people remember that and being the best version of themselves they can be. Obviously, as we age and the different things that we've been through, we come out with different results, but there's so much more we can do from a preventative standpoint, and absolutely the body is amazing and it can do so much for itself when given the chance, right, to take it to that place.
When you find the right teacher, which you are, okay, and you can open those doors for people, and they can see that, you know, this is something to be experienced right up until when you decide not to have it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm healthier at 71 than I was in my 50s or 40s.
Right.
You know, but I had to make some very strong, conscious choices.
Yes.
Because what I was facing was, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, do I want to hang?
Yeah.
And when that little voice said, yeah, you better hang around. Or you're going to have to come
You're
back.
not done yet.
Or you're going to have to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again. And I realized attitude had to change. But how can I change attitude if I'm hurting, if I'm sick? Well, then I had to change my intake, my enzymatic intake. I had to get to, and when CBD came along, it was just like, whoa.
Whole nother level.
A whole new, it was just like,
Whole nother place of going.
I didn't even know I still had blinders on. And
Yeah.
it was like,
Right.
staying
No,
there.
when we went from food to
Yeah,
to enzymes and digestion and all this, which is miraculous, to
Right.
wake up call, and then CBD, and then of course the whole flower fluid.
Right.
There's no comparison. All right.
And one last thing, just so you have this, but you have, it's so simple. We make it, I don't know how it got this complex. 4 nerves make up the entire nervous system of your body, and 5 nerve endings, 5 classifications.
Okay.
And mechanical nerve classification, okay, those are the guys that give us joint movement and all of this. That's the first thing we use in life, because when we come out, we're full of amniotic fluid, we mechanically throw up, okay? The last thing we do in life is we mechanically grasp for air.
Yeah.
We have 6 times as many of those mechanoreceptors, except that the other ones are vision, pain, hot and cold, and then chemicals. We have 2.5 times more 2.5 times more mechanical receptors as we do chemical receptors, and 6 times as more than the other 3. But somewhere in your 50s, in a 3-week to month period, 1/2 of those mechanoreceptors die and never regenerate. And we call that aging.
Okay.
And what it really is changing. And it says, I can't rely on my mechanical function to do what it used to do as thoroughly as it used to. But with spray, with tincture drop, I can fire up that endocannabinoid system. You know where those receptors are? Those receptors are in the blood vessel. They're in the wall of the blood vessel. So you're spraying, and as that spray is going in and going through that blood vessel, it's tapping those receptors in that first round through. That's sending an electromagnetic message up to the brain.
Yeah.
You know, I think I should have put that point in earlier.
Right, it's awesome. No, that's great.
And so what I do now is I always, I walk, but I spray and I walk. And I always walk backwards a little bit, then walk forwards and spray, and then I'm just off and running.
Gotcha.
So it's just that's the purpose for it.
No, it's
great.
We believe every human being should have it, and that's what we're going to continue to do, is just educate. Just videos like this, and whether out speaking somewhere or just talking one-on-one with someone or thousands of people at a time, we don't care. It's one person at a time, and let the truth resonate to those who are open and willing to allow themselves to hear. And of course, sometimes we have to unlearn what we've learned in order to move forward and not be so stubborn and get that ego out of the way. So, okay, we'll let you guys go. Dr. Kit, thank you so much, man. You are the man. Thanks for hanging out with me. We're going to do some more of these. Everyone have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this, and
thank you very
share
much.
it, pass it along.